Astrology. This is the birth chart for David Goggins. He's an Aquarius rising, moon in Taurus, sun in Aquarius, 28 degrees. So the ruler of his chart here, Aquarius, is Uranus, and it's in the ninth. You could also consider Saturn in the sixth as a ruler. But let's look at Uranus here. So he is, I know a little bit about him, not that much. Ruler of the chart, Uranus, it's in the ninth. Could be someone who's an unusual, unorthodox learner, very unorthodox traveling in the life. Very much an individualist. He's got moon opposite Uranus. And what's interesting, a little side note, I just did Kobe Bryant, and Kobe Bryant has the exact same Uranus moon opposition in the same signs. I did not try to do that. I literally just did it. Little interesting synchronicity there. And so we see this opposition to moon. It's like having an Aquarius moon as well. He does have the Aquarius sun. He is a little bit unusual. And Aquarius is known as the sign of trauma. If you want to find trauma in a chart, which we should, that's what I'll do here. You could see the ruler of his chart is Uranus, and we can look at all the aspects to Uranus. We can look at the 11th house to see if there's anything there. We can look at Aquarius, and we see that he has the moon, the sun, and Mercury, and it's making an exact square to his ascendant. So, and the North Node. There's quite a few aspects to Uranus. Uranus is retrograde as well, and we see Mercury retrograde in Aquarius and Sun in Aquarius. And we can look at aspects to those planets as well. So the reason I mentioned trauma with this guy is he's like, I looked into his book once, and he seems like he's like redeeming his trauma. And I even talk to people who are interested in him, and they have a lot of trauma, and it's like he's teaching about that idea of, you think of teaching here with trauma, teaching about trauma and how to deal with it, how he takes that approach of like, get real strong and nothing can break you. I forget that saying, something about that, just being strong and tough through all this. And it's not my approach. I've partially taken that approach in my life, but not my favorite approach. But that's what he does, and there it is. This guy must have dealt with a lot of trauma. And you can see with Mercury in the first, it's a good place to have Mercury, and the sun in the first, he would deal with trauma like that. Having those planets in the first, like just going head on into it, facing it, getting tough. Aquarius is also ruled by Saturn, so you think of like, Saturn being a tough planet. He's got Saturn in the sixth, so very much a big self-improvement guy. He's got Neptune conjunct the North Node in the 10th. So you can see him as being a teacher. This is someone who would be a teacher in this life, especially in Sagittarius. He's got a very Capricorn nature to himself, with that toughness, getting tough, very Saturnian. And the ruler here is Jupiter. And he's got this nice Jupiter-Venus conjunction in the second. So very good fortunate. Probably that's like one of the best, aside from it being in Pisces. I mean, it's like one of the best placements for Jupiter-Venus in the second. So this guy is like really good fortune. I'm sure he has really good fortune. So I don't really know his whole story, but that's somebody who would come out of trauma with a lot of benefits from coming out of that trauma. Or some people, it doesn't work like that. They just live with the trauma the rest of their life. So that's interesting to see that the way he looks at things, that's probably not going to work for a lot of people because they don't have Jupiter, Venus in the second house like he does, and they have to go a little deeper. They have to really consider their thoughts and really work to change their thoughts, and not just kind of like work hard the rest of their life and ignore their thoughts. It's just not going to work for most people. It might work for him, that Jupiter Venus in the second, but that also could be more, showing him more to be a teacher. Jupiter in Pisces. Jupiter likes to be in Pisces. Mars in the 12th. I mean, there's probably more that can be said about this. A lot of Pisces energy here with Mars in the 12th. Mars likes to be in Capricorn, though. It's exalted in Capricorn. It seems to me, too, that with the South Node in Gemini in the 4th, so you could say he's coming from a place of caring. With that South Node in the Cancer house, the ruler is Mercury. But with it being in Gemini, the ruler Mercury right there in Aquarius, where it's exalted near the ascendant, he just seems like a guy to me that is using his experience and really selling it. You think of like the North Node in Sagittarius, Neptune, really selling his experience and projecting it onto many other people. And I tell you, and I'm not trying to judge, like make negative judgments about some of these people, but I have an interesting story that just tell real quick. I met someone who recommended this person to me, and she dealt with a lot of trauma. And I started reading this guy's book, and I couldn't even finish. I couldn't continue because I felt like this was like so wrong of approach for her. Like her approach was like to get tough, and she had those Taurus, Scorpio stuff in her chart where it was like survival, make money, and I felt like she had enough money considering what she told me, but she still felt like this, like I have to get tough to make it in the world. And if you watch my channel, to me this is very, very delusional. Neptune can correlate with delusions. So I'm not going to get too deep into that. I will get more into it with my channel. So subscribe if you're interested in that, going deeper with astrology. Some of the other things here, like I mentioned, the Kobe Bryant. I just did the Kobe Bryant, so check that out. You'll see that Uranus Moon opposition. And I hope you enjoyed this, and have a great day.